Joining me now is Sarah Friar, CEO of Nextdoor. And Sarah, why is Nextdoor going public via SPAC and not the traditional IPO route?
Sure. So first of all, why go public? Number one, we think if we raise money right now, we can really deploy it in an ROI effective way. We've been growing at a tremendous clip, particularly through the pandemic. Users grew 50% year over year last year. Second, we're ready to be a public company. I've done this before, and Nextdoor is definitely ready to run that gauntlet of fire. And then third and finally, is the market ready for us? And what we found as we tested the market, both as an IPO and as a SPAC, that the market was saying yes. And we've seen that in this outcome of a SPAC. So a great valuation, price certainty right now on the deal, and getting to work with a partner that brings more than just capital to the table.
So I don't know if you noticed there, it says 1 out of 3 households in the US use Nextdoor. It's fairly big. What are you planning to try to grow that in worldwide on global scale?
Yeah, so today we're in 11 countries. And what we see in the US is Nextdoor is truly a network business. The more people that join the platform, the richer the content becomes, the more engaged members are. And so growth begets growth. So we know, first of all, there's just still quite a runway in the US. As I say, everyone is a neighbor. So I would like that to be all households. Outside the US, we're beginning to build in many countries. UK, we're in 1 in 6 households. We know we can bring that up to easily 1 in 3. Canada is our youngest country and our fastest growing. And it's been incredible to see Canadian neighbors using the platform, particularly right now as they look for vaccines. And of course, we want to take this global. Nextdoor should be a global platform. We know we resonate around the world. And so it's really more a when, not an if, that we take the whole platform to a global stage.
Now, growing is just one portion, but user engagement is massive. How are you tackling that?
Yeah, so of course, when people come to Nextdoor, we need to make sure that we do the job that they're looking for at that moment in time. Sometimes it's a really high utility moment, right? They're coming to look for something like a local plumber. Maybe they've moved to a new neighborhood and they want to know the best playground for their kids. Sometimes they come because they're looking for trusted information. And so we work a lot with public agencies, from the local fire department all the way up to FEMA. We actually did a lot of work this weekend down in Florida, particularly with the tropical storm, potentially hurricane coming in. But then they come to also create community. And that's a big part of our purpose. It's why our ticker is kind, because when people come, they create connections online, but take it into the offline world. And we think that's incredibly important to strengthen neighborhoods, to make neighborhoods resilient. And it's a big part of our purpose.
And another also big thing is privacy. So how are you dealing with, privacy, racial profiling, harassment? I know that's a big issue. So how are you dealing with that?
Yeah, so at its core, Nextdoor is founded in trust. So unlike other platforms, we confirm that you're a real neighbor at a real address. We ask you to use your real name and to use your real picture. So we think that starts that moment of accountability. And of course, in local, it is harder to be really toxic because those are people you're going to bump into, maybe on the side of your kid's soccer game. Second, we do use technology to slow people down. So we've been willing to make trade-offs on engagement to make sure that conversations stay respectful. So we do things like kindness reminder. Working with behavioral scientists out of Stanford, we recognize that if you slow people down and remind them that kindness is important, they actually typically will act better. They still have those tough conversations. That's important, right? Nextdoor is not a thought bubble. You are with your neighbors who you can't pick, but want you to do it in a way where you're being respectful and hopefully remembering how to be kind, even in tougher conversations. And then from a moderation perspective, we use a lot of local moderators because we think the local context is incredibly important.
That's right. And speaking of local, Nextdoor is huge for local businesses and advertising. Are you doubling down on that? What's going on there?
Yeah, so the last couple of years, we've really dug into businesses overall, but as you said, local businesses. And local businesses can go from literally the Walmarts of the world, a CVS, a McDonald's, all the way down to kind of mom and pop, shop on the corner, coffee shop, to the local plumber, right? There's a lot that goes on around your home if you just take stock of it. And in fact, things like new movers, Nextdoor is the best platform for a new mover to get to know their neighborhood and to find those local people that will help them get their house up and going. So yes, we've been investing in making sure those local businesses can post to the platform. They can do a local deal. They can sponsor part of the newsfeed. Those are ways that we can monetize, but it helps those businesses get to their most important customers, the people who can literally walk in their door, spend money, and put their business on a great track.
And lastly, what are you looking forward most as the listing approaches?
So I think, for us, it's a milestone. It's actually not the destination. So I don't know if I'm looking forward to something about the listing per se. I definitely am excited to bring in those proceeds, right? 686 million of gross proceeds, because that is a big fuel to the fire for Nextdoor, right? We've proven that we are a business model where people want to come, we provide high utility. We've seen it in our growth through the last couple of years. And now is definitely the time to add oxygen to that flame and really turn this platform into a global phenomenon, which we know it can be.
Sarah Friar, CEO of Nextdoor, thank you so much for spending time with us today.